Good morning, 7th class. How are you? Fine, good. तो अब बेटा हम आपके मैथ में 9th चैप्टर रैशनल नंबर की आज हम करेंगे उसकी डीजी, ताकि आपको वो चैप्टर और अच्छे से क्लियर हो। ठीक है, तो आज हम करेंगे इसके डीजी। ध्यान से देखना ताकि ये चैप्टर आपको क्लियर हो। देखिए, रैशनल नंबर से हम इनका स्टार्ट करते हैं। इंट्रोडक्शन ऑफ रैशनल नंबर। इंट्रोडक्शन ऑफ रैशनल नंबर, ये आपके इंट्रोडक्शन आएगी रैशनल नंबर। ये रैशनल नंबर जो है वो क्या होता है, ध्यान दें। ये आपका इंट्रोडक्शन।
Here we have natural numbers, whole numbers, integers, fractions, and decimals. Let's see if we can express each of these types of numbers in ratio form, P over Q. All natural numbers can be expressed with the denominator 1. Thus, natural numbers can be written in ratio form. Similarly, all whole numbers including 0 can be expressed with the denominator 1. So, whole numbers can be written in ratio form too. Integers, positive and negative, can be expressed with the denominator 1. So, each integer can be written in the form P over Q. As you can see, fractions are already in ratio form. Every terminating and recurring decimal number can be expressed in ratio form. All these types of numbers can be expressed in ratio form, that is, in the form P over Q. Such numbers are called rational numbers. Let's learn more about the rational numbers.
ध्यान देना अब रैशनल नंबर में।
Numbers that can be represented in the form P over Q are rational numbers. We've seen that in a rational number P can be equal to 0. For a number to be rational, can Q be 0?
अब इसको आगे ये आपके रैशनल नंबर के बारे में देखिए ध्यान से, ताकि आपको ये सारे पॉइंट क्लियर हो जाएं।
No, division by 0 is not defined. So, in a rational number, the value of Q cannot be 0. Observe that in a rational number, P and Q are both integers. So, we can define a rational number as one that can be expressed in the form of P over Q, where P and Q are integers and Q is not equal to 0.
ध्यान से जगह आपको चार्ट भी बना के दे दिया इसका। ठीक है, ये चार्ट को भी आप ध्यान से कर सकते हो। अब आ जाते हैं पॉजिटिव एंड नेगेटिव रैशनल नंबर।
Rational numbers can be positive or negative. Based on what you know about positive and negative numbers, identify whether each of these rational numbers is positive or negative. Rational numbers are positive if both the numerator and the denominator are either positive or negative. Rational numbers are negative if either the numerator or the denominator is negative.
ये जो पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव जो आपका नंबर लाइन जो भी हम क्लियर करते हैं, ठीक है, वही आपके पॉइंट आ जाते हैं कि कौन से नेगेटिव है, कौन से पॉजिटिव है। अबव है तो पॉजिटिव, बिलो है तो नेगेटिव। नंबर लाइन पे देखो शो कर रहे हैं।
On a number line, all positive integers are to the right of 0 and all negative integers are to the left of 0. Similarly, the positive rational numbers are represented to the right of 0 on the number line, and the negative rational numbers are represented to the left of 0 on the number line.
ये आपको नंबर लाइन शो किया है पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव। एलिमेंट एक जैसे जो हमारे
Look closely at these rational numbers. What do you notice about the relationship between these numbers?
सभी का देखो कटिंग करेंगे तो हमारे वही रेशनल नंबर आएंगे, सब इक्वल हो जाएंगे।
All these numbers are equal to each other. Multiply the numerator and denominator by the same non-zero integer. We obtain rational numbers that are equivalent to the original.
सभी ध्यान दें इसमें।
Such rational numbers which are equal to each other are said to be equivalent rational numbers. Here's another example of equivalent rational numbers. How do you verify that two rational numbers are equivalent?
हम इसको वेरीफाई
It's a
करें।
quick way to check. Just cross-multiply the two rational numbers. If their products are equal, then the rational numbers are equivalent.
क्लियर हुए कि कौन से पॉइंट कैसे उनको क्रॉस में मल्टीप्लाई तो इक्वल आ जाते हैं, तो यस, अगर इक्वल नहीं आते तो इक्वलेंट नहीं है। स्टैंडर्ड फॉर्म मीन शॉर्ट फॉर्म।
We generally write rational numbers in standard form. A rational number is said to be in the standard form if the denominator is a positive integer and the highest common factor, HCF, of the numerator and denominator is 1. Let's take an example. Here, the denominator 2 is a positive integer and the highest common factor of the numerator and denominator is 1. So, this rational number is in standard form. Now, let's check if this rational number is in standard form. Here, the denominator is negative, so this rational number is not in the standard form. For a rational number to be in standard form, convert the denominator into a positive integer. Multiply the numerator and the denominator by -1. The denominator is now a positive integer. The HCF of 2 and 5 is 1. So this rational number is in the standard form. Let's look at another example. The denominator 4 is a positive integer. The HCF of 8 and 4 is 4. For the rational number to be in standard form, the HCF of the numerator and denominator should be 1. By dividing the numerator and the denominator by 4, we obtain -2. Therefore, the standard form of -8 over 4 is -2.
ये थे आपके स्टैंडर्ड फॉर्म में। ठीक है, नेक्स्ट अगर हमें डिनोमिनेटर हमेशा हमारा कौन सा होना चाहिए, पॉजिटिव। एक्टिविटी भी इसके साथ साथ दे देते हैं। ठीक है, ये आपको फॉर्म में करना है। क्या आंसर आएगा, फॉर्म में किया ना, 6, इसको क्या आएगा -2/3 16/20। बताइए आप 16 और 24 कौन से टेबल में आते हैं, 4 के। देखो इसमें हमारे आंसर शो किया। ठीक है, और के या 8 के टेबल पे इसकी कटिंग कर सकते हैं। ये हमारा था आपके लिए रेशनल। स्टैंडर्ड फॉर्म में हम इसको शो करते हैं। एक सम और आपको देखते हैं इसकी एक्टिविटी में। 8 माइनस, देखो अब इसको पहले हम क्या करेंगे, पहले क्या करेंगे, इसको न्यूमिनेटर को पॉजिटिव करेंगे। न्यूमिनेटर क्या है, नेगेटिव है ना, अब इनको पॉजिटिव करेंगे तो -1 से मल्टीप्लाई कर दिया तो पॉजिटिव। अब इनको स्टैंडर्ड फॉर्म में, क्लियर। अब हम नेक्स्ट, अब हम क्या करेंगे, सेकेंड आपका एडिशन एंड सब्ट्रैक्शन ऑफ रैशनल नंबर। ठीक है, रैशनल नंबर को प्लस और माइनस, यहाँ से सम भी हमने करे एक्सरसाइज के, इसमें भी देखें।
Sam is planning to walk down to school today. The distance from his house to his school is 1.5 kilometers. Sam is also planning to go to a park after school, and the distance from his school to the park is 2 kilometers. What is the total distance that Sam walks from his house to the park? Well, the total distance is equal to the sum of the distance from his house to the school and from his school to the park. That is 1.5 kilometers plus 2 kilometers. Notice that 1.5 is the same as 3/2. Now, suppose Sam cancels his visit to the park and walks back directly to his house from school. Suppose Sam walked a kilometer towards his house. What is the remaining distance that he still needs to walk to reach his house? Since the distance from school to house is 3/2 kilometers, and Sam has already covered a kilometer, the distance to be covered is 3/2 minus 1 kilometer. In order to find these distances, we need to add and subtract the rational numbers. Let's see how to add and subtract rational numbers.
Addition plus the sum.
Consider two positive rational numbers, 3/2 and 5/2. Let's see how to add them. Consider each tile represents the rational number 1/2. Thus, 3 tiles represent 3/2. Similarly, 5 tiles represent the number 5/2. On adding these, we get a total of 8 tiles, which is equal to 8/2. So when two given rational numbers have equal denominators, we can simply add their numerators to find their sum. Here are a few more examples.
ध्यान से इनको हम प्लस, जब हमारे न्यूमिनेटर सेम होते हैं, ठीक है, तो हम इनको कैसे करते हैं।
Next, let's take an example of adding a positive and a negative rational number. Here, 3 positive tiles represent the rational number 3/2. Similarly, a negative tile represents the negative rational number -1/2. And hence, 7 tiles will represent the number -7/2.
अब क्या है, नेगेटिव माइनस,
Adding a positive and a negative tile will result in 0. Thus, we are left with 4 negative tiles here. Therefore, adding -7/2 to 3/2 will give the sum -4/2. Note that since both the rational numbers have the same denominators, the result of their sum can be obtained by adding their numerators and retaining the same denominator. Here are a few more examples. Let's now add two negative rational numbers, -3/2 and -4/2. 3 negative tiles represent -3/2, and 4 negative tiles represent -4/2. Adding both the numbers gives the result -7/2. Since the denominators are equal, we can add the numerators to find their sum and retain the same denominator. Here are a few more examples.
हाँ बेटा, क्लियर हो रहा है आपको? हो रहा है ना सभी को? देखो कैसे हम इनको प्लस और माइनस करते हैं, ठीक है। और भी एक ऐसा है आपका, वो आगे देखिए, फिर इनको कंटिन्यू करते हैं।
Let's now find the total distance from Sam's house to the park. To find this, we have to add the rational numbers 3/2 and 2/1. Note that both these rational numbers have different denominators. How do we add two rational numbers when their denominators are not equal? Let's find out. Well, in the case of rational numbers with different denominators, we have to make the denominators equal by finding their LCM as shown.
क्या इसमें LCM लेके इनको सॉल्व, ठीक है। इसमें वैसे ही आपका 2 था, फिर इसमें सेम नहीं है ना, 2 और 1, जब सेम हो तो सेम कर देते, ठीक है। जब इसका हम LCM लेके सम करते हैं, ठीक है। नेक्स्ट पार्ट इसका देखिए। अब इसके नेक्स्ट पार्ट करते हैं।
Look at this car. It covers a distance of 60 kilometers in an hour. Can you tell how much distance it will cover in 2.5 hours? We know that 2.5 is equal to 5/2. Since the car travels 60 kilometers in an hour, the distance covered in 2.5 hours will be 60 times 5/2. Now suppose this car covers a distance of 150 kilometers in 3.5 hours. How much distance will it cover in an hour?
Multiply or division.
The distance covered in an hour is obtained by dividing 150 by 3.5, which is equal to 7/2. Thus, as you can see, to solve these problems, we were required to multiply or divide the rational numbers. Let's learn how to multiply and divide rational numbers. As we know, rational numbers are the numbers that can be written in the form P/Q, where P and Q are both integers, and Q is not equal to 0. Also, rational numbers include natural numbers, whole numbers, and integers. We know how to multiply whole numbers. For example, multiplying 3 with 4 will give us 12. In other words, multiplying 3 with 4 means taking 4 copies of 3. Similarly, we know how to divide whole numbers. Recall that division is the inverse operation of multiplication. For example, dividing 12 by 3 will give the result 4. Also, we know how to multiply integers as well. For example, multiplying 3 with -4 will give the result -12.
ये थे आपके रैशनल नंबर, जिनको हम प्लस माइनस सब, ठीक है। ये हमने अपनी एक्सरसाइज भी कंप्लीट कर रखी है, आपने अपनी अपनी कॉपी के ऊपर सारे सब क्लियर हो गए ना आपको रैशनल नंबर, बोल सकते हैं, हो गया सबको, ठीक है। ओके, हैव ए नाइस डे।